Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday edition of Chris 6 Sunrise.
Here's a look at what stories we're covering in your neighborhood.
Ingleside Planning and Zoning is discussing a special permit request with nearby neighbors. I'm Victoria Valderrama with the details of the application and why so many are against it.
From Corpus Christi to New York City, I'm Michaela Chavez on the north side, telling you about two locals who are gearing up for the New York City Marathon and how you can help them get to the finish line.
The medical future for Aransas Pass residents could look very different very soon.
Said not just for Aransas Pass, but Ingleside, Rockport, Port Aransas.
I'm Adam Beam with what a new urgent care could mean for residents ahead.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Chris 6 Sunrise. Thank you so much for waking up with the Hoffmans. I'm Michelle Hoffman.
And I'm Brian Hoffman. It is halfway through the week, and I think it's been a pretty good week so far. Rest of it's going to be wait for it, tastic. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm done. Let's turn things on over to Miss Julia Quiddy. Good morning, Julia.
It's a dramatic pause for me. Wait for it. Like,
He's going to make that a thing.
I like it though. It's funny. Oh my goodness. But no, heading out the door this morning, traffic flow looks to be moving pretty well across most of our neighborhoods here in the Coastal Bend. Now, quickly going to our forecast very briefly, heading out the door, getting that in that car. You may not have to crank up the air conditioning just quite yet. You're going to ramp it up as we head towards this afternoon, as we are seeing a return of that hot, spicy weather and those temperatures reaching back up towards those upper 90s. But right now, things feeling fairly comfortable enough. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at those traffic flow maps here. Going on the JFK Causeway, going to and from the island, looking at pretty easy movement right now at the moment. Moving on over towards Flower Bluff, same thing, heading on Waldron Road and on Flower Bluff Drive. Not much of any issue to be concerned about in terms of your drive and your traffic flow there. As per usual, though, as you start to approach and get a little bit closer towards the gate at NAS Corpus Christi, you can expect more of a mixture of medium to slow speeds. Then now, lastly, moving on over towards downtown, Ocean Drive, down to SPID and on Saratoga. All three of those roadways are moving well for you for the start of your Wednesday morning. More details on your weather forecast coming up.
All right, folks, time for some drama over at City Council. It was a really late night for them, with the meeting officially adjourning at 1:20 a.m. Tensions were very high, with multiple arrests made during the first round of public comment on this evening. Though after lengthy discussions and another round of public comment, the City Council voted to end the contract with Kiewit and this desal project and stop the funding for the Inner Harbor desal project entirely. That vote was made at 1 a.m. Following the vote, the council then voted yes on a resolution to ask the Texas Water Development Board if they can use $210 million in the Inner Harbor funds for other water-related projects. So the City Council also voted on some rate and fee increases. One proposed increase that did not pass was a water rate increase that would have raised residential fees by $4.78 a month. Now, that fee increase would kick in on January 1st. Again, that got voted down. After that fee increase was rejected by City Council, the city manager, told council members that $20 million would now have to be cut from the operations budget. Corpus Christi Water would also have to cut 86 positions. Council was a bit perplexed, too. The council members asked City Manager Peter Zanoni why they hadn't been told of the consequences of a no vote. They wanted all the information beforehand. Zanoni said that city staff didn't think the council would vote no. Well, the water rate increase will be back for discussion next week.
Parking at the Corpus Christi International Airport will soon cost more. City Council approved a rate increase for short-term and covered daily parking. Beginning October 1st, travelers will have to pay $15, and that's $2 more than the current rate. And the City Council approved the first reading to keep the property tax rate at about 59 cents per $100 of property value. Now, while the rate itself isn't increasing, it's a 0.23% rise over last year's no new revenue rate, and that means the city will collect more because of rising property values. City Manager Peter Zanoni also noted that even without a rate hike, Homeowners could see higher bills because of that. The council will vote to finalize the rate next week. And City Council also approved multi-year rate increases at Sunrise Beach RV Park to cover future upgrades for the park. Corpus Christi Water bought the park in 2008 to protect the Wesley Seal Dam, and it's been a popular spot along Lake Corpus Christi, but it does need a boat ramp, updated facilities, and better security. The rate increases would cover those improvements, and City Council approved a 54% increase to all park fees in 2026, followed by an additional 1% in 2027 and 2028. Prices will then go up by 11% in 2029 and 10% in 2030.
All right, so Senate Bill 10, we remember that one, right? And quick refresher, it's the law requiring every Texas public classroom to display the 10 Commandments. It officially went into effect on September 1st, but not without its own legal challenges. Several Texas families sued the state about the commandments going up in public classrooms. A federal district court issued an injunction stopping the posters from going up in 11 districts, although none of those districts are in Corpus Christi. One Flower Bluff parent tells Neighborhood News reporter Tony Jaramillo that she's upset that the posters are remaining up.
It's only fair that if one religion is given a space that they should all be included.
The American Civil Liberties Union, which is representing those Texas families, says, quote, the injunction order was directed specifically to the 11 districts listed as defendants, but all school districts have an independent obligation to uphold the Constitution, end quote.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Wednesday. We made it to the midway point of our work week, and with that, we'll see some changes coming in the forecast. We got moisture out of the way, now drier air taking its place, leaning towards a little bit of cooler conditions that we'll be waking up to this morning, but that same dry air is going to contribute toward why we're going to see our temperatures really ramp up and increase by a lot as we head towards this afternoon, making for more spicy hot weather on the way. But right now, let's go ahead and take a look at our view here on Moisture Tracker. As you can see, all those hues of yellow coming into the map, noting that drier air is settling its way in across South Texas. But like I mentioned, it's leading towards a bit of a cool start for us this morning, as across the coastal bend we're waking up to temperatures around 2 or up to 7 degrees cooler this morning compared to when we started our morning yesterday on our Tuesday. So what does that mean for our air temperatures waking up? Well, the range between where all of us can expect our air temperatures to be sitting at right now will be in those low to mid or maybe close towards those upper 70s across the coastal bend. Corpus Christi sitting at 74, 75 over in Beeville, 79 degrees your temperature over in Rockport, 75 right now in Alice. Across the coastal bend, seeing fairly calm wind speeds still coming in though from the north, again still attributing towards that drier air that's still pushing its way from the north across the coastal bend right now at the moment. Taking a look at our planner today, we'll see more sunshine on the way all throughout the morning and heading towards this afternoon. Going to see our temperatures quickly increase, getting towards those lower 90s by 11 o'clock this morning. So that lets you know by this afternoon we're going to be definitely feeling those upper 90s by the time we reach around 1 and definitely towards 3 o'clock, eventually reaching that afternoon high temperature of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi. So like I mentioned, got lots of sunshine and very hot weather on the way for us today all across the area. And that's not to mention even our feel like temperatures, which will also be increasing today, reaching nearby 105 degrees across most of our neighborhoods. So that'll be probably the top value that we'll see in terms of our feel like temperatures, or our heat index values hitting that value as we look ahead towards around 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon. But along with that, that's why we'll be experiencing that heat risk that's going to worsen for us today across, again, the whole coastal bend, reaching anywhere between that moderate to major risk today, worsening ahead for us tomorrow and Thursday, and then kind of shrinking a bit, but still in that dangerous zone, anywhere between that moderate to major risk ahead for us on your Friday as well. So in terms of our forecast high temperatures, we're going back up towards those above average ranges, well into those triple digits potentially tomorrow in our air temperatures, but changes will be coming ahead for us this weekend. We'll have another frontal boundary, a cold front potentially pushing its way close by here to the coastal bend. Also some deep tropical moisture giving us cooler weather and more rain chances.
City leaders are looking at a property tax rate increase. I'm Alexis Scott with how much this could cost you and where your money could go.
A federal judge ruled the Trump administration's use of the California National Guard is illegal. I'm Stephanie Lee Brandon. Coming up, how that decision could impact the president's desire to crack down on crime in other major cities.
Welcome back, folks. President Donald Trump has promised to send federal law enforcement into Chicago and Baltimore to tackle what he views as a crime crisis. Scripps News Group Stephanie Liebergen explains how lawsuits about the president's use of the National Guard in California and Washington, D.C. might impact what he can do elsewhere.
A federal judge ruled the Trump administration's use of the California National Guard is illegal, and this decision could have ramifications in other big cities across the country.
Since June, the California National Guard has been under federal control, activated by President Donald Trump. At its height, 4,000 Guard members and 700 Marines were on the ground in Southern California. But Tuesday, Judge Charles Breyer ruled the Trump administration's use of troops in the Los Angeles area violates federal law. And his decision centers on the Posse Comitatus Act, which prohibits the military from being used for domestic law enforcement purposes.
We don't want the military acting as a national police force. So to the extent that the military was doing those things like setting up perimeters and traffic stops and all of that, it was crossing the line in terms of what it's allowed to do legally.
Judge Breyer's opinion notes multiple examples of troops being used for things like crowd and traffic control. He wrote, quote, "The violations were the function of systematic and willful orders to troops to execute domestic law."
As of early August, 300 Guard troops still remain active in Los Angeles, and the judge said they can remain, but they must not perform law enforcement actions.
They're allowed to play a supportive role. They're allowed to protect federal property. That is something that the military has done in other circumstances.
President Trump has also activated the National Guard in Washington, D.C., but his control in the nation's capital is different.
The Posse Comitatus Act, that law that was the basis of the decision today in LA, does not apply to what is going on in D.C., and also the president has much more authority to use the military in D.C.
President Trump has threatened to send military forces into other major cities like Chicago. Tuesday morning on social media, the president said, quote, "I will solve the crime problem fast, just like I did in D.C. Chicago will be safe again, and soon." The ruling from Judge Breyer is limited to California, so it can't stop the president from federalizing the National Guard in other cities. But the case did expose some risks.
What this case shows is how risky it is for the military itself to be deployed in this way. And some of the documents that came out in the litigation show this, because it's putting the military in a situation that's very volatile in a way that is not something that they've historically been used, that they're not well trained for. And so they're at risk of liability, legal liability.
The reasoning used in the California opinion could be applied by federal judges in other jurisdictions. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Wednesday. We made it to the midway point of the work week, with the second half going to be a lot hotter and drier here in the coastal bend, and we will be expecting hotter temperatures as well. So right now, let's go ahead and take a look at our future tracker, or I should say moisture tracker here rather, where you can see drier air is currently in place, blanketing all across the coastal bend. This is going to lead towards why we will be having a bit of a more comfortable start this morning, with temperatures a little bit more cooler compared to yesterday, but again, hotter conditions as we reach this afternoon. But taking a look at those temperature changes from the past 24 hours across the coastal bend, looking at anywhere between 2 or up to 7 degrees cooler across our neighborhoods here in the region compared to yesterday, because that drier air that's now in place that moved its way, of course, into the coastal bend late yesterday. Right now, waking up, that's going to mean for our temperatures kind of ranging between those lower to mid, maybe close towards those upper 70s for areas that are along the coast. So 74 degrees here in Corpus Christi, 75 over in Robstown, and 72 degrees your temperature right now waking up over in Alice. Taking a look at our hour-by-hour forecast, going to see that temperatures will slowly increase but quickly get really hot for us by the time you reach around midday, 11 o'clock this morning. Going to see that air temperature already reaching those lower 90s, and by lunchtime already approaching those mid 90s here in Corpus Christi. Looking at most sunny skies all across the area too. Not going to make for much of any cloud cover, because again, drier air is going to be in place, so moisture that leads to cloud cover not going to be super present in our forecast today. But like I mentioned, we're going to be in for very spicy hot temperatures for us this afternoon, reaching an afternoon high of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi. So, of course, across other neighborhoods, we can assume safely that all of us will be around that same range ahead for us by this afternoon. And our feel like temperatures will also increase by this afternoon, too, all across the area, anywhere between those lower 100s, close towards 105 degrees for our top value that we could see by this afternoon for our feel like temperatures and our heat index values. So along with that, that's going to correlate why our heat risk and heat danger today is also going to worsen, going towards that moderate to major zone across some of our areas and neighborhoods and counties across the coastal bend. That's only going to worsen even further ahead for us tomorrow on our Thursday. More neighborhoods under that moderate and major risk for heat danger in the forecast, and that's going to stick around as we look ahead towards the end of our work week on our Friday as well. Changes will be coming though as we look ahead towards the weekend. We'll have a frontal boundary, another cold front kind of make its way close by here in the coastal bend, bring us back down towards maybe below normal, below average temperatures here in the area. And it's also going to get associated with some deep tropical moisture coming in from the eastern Pacific. So that's going to give us some pretty decent right now rain chances coming in beginning on Saturday. That's going to last all weekend and potentially as we look ahead towards the start of the early part of next week. So right now we got the heat to deal with towards the end of our work week with moisture coming in this weekend.
Well, hey, thank you so much, Julia. Appreciate it. We're halfway through that week. If you need to make a quick trip to the grocery store after work, don't worry. I've got some of the cheapest grocery prices around town. Hey, welcome back, folks. It's the middle of the week. You might need to restock the pantry, but where to get those cheaper grocery prices? Don't worry, folks. I've taken a look at all of the retailers' websites as of Wednesday morning, this morning, and we're going to start off with the price of eggs. So, carton of eggs, third place goes to H-E-B, second place Target, first place Walmart, $2.72 over there. And then how about a loaf of bread? Well, it looks like third place is Target, $1.49, and then Walmart is sitting at $1.27. H-E-B is the winner on that one, although we can never beat that $1 French bread loaf, can we, folks? Next up, gallon of milk. Looks like third place is Target at $2.89, and then second place and first place are both tied over at H-E-B and Walmart, $2.72. On to the protein. A pound of ground beef, folks. Target, they flip-flop a little bit, but no price change since last week, $6.49. H-E-B, $4.79. First place is the Walmart over there at $4.44, although I hear some of the local meat markets you can get a slightly cheaper price. As always, if you can find those cheaper prices, throw them in your cart while you can, because we all want to save that extra buck or two.
Alrighty, good morning. Taking a live look outside now from our First Community Bank Sky Cam atop the USS Lexington, where you can see traffic flows moving very smoothly both on the new and old harbor bridges there. We can see that conditions across the coastal bend are going to be pretty cool for now this morning, relatively speaking, because we are a few degrees cooler this morning compared to yesterday just because that dry air that's in place. But that same dry air is going to contribute towards a very big warm up in our temperatures by this afternoon. So you're definitely going to want to crank up that air conditioning over the next few hours today. But going ahead and taking a look at our traffic flow maps here, heading out the door on Ocean Drive and SPID and heading on Saratoga. All three of those roadways moving very well for you for the start of your Wednesday morning. Moving on over towards Flower Bluff, all clear on Waldron Road and for the most part on Flower Bluff Drive. There's a little bit of improvement now happening as you approach the gate at NAS Corpus Christi. Just going to encounter a little bit of median speed there, and all clear on the JFK Causeway going to and from the island. That's it for Traport. The details of your forecast coming up.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Alrighty, good morning and welcome back. Taking a live look outside now from our Stupy's Pier Sky Cam, sponsored by CCAC. You can see we're right now looking at some mostly clear skies, a couple passing clouds early this morning. Got a bit of a drier start, of course, across the coastal bend as that dry air is settling into the area. That's going to mean this morning going to wake up towards slightly cooler temperatures compared to yesterday, but that same drier air is going to contribute towards why we're going to experience some very intense heat as we head towards the afternoon. So let's go ahead and get into it here. We're expecting today to be a very hot day for us. Air temperatures reaching back up towards those upper 90s as we head towards this afternoon. And as early as around midday, 11 o'clock this morning, we'll be seeing our air temperatures already reaching towards those lower 90s. And along with that, we're going to see an increase in our flight temperatures, otherwise known as our heat index values, also approaching around that 105 mark as we head towards the afternoon hours as well. And also in correlation with that, we'll see that our heat danger is going to worsen for us across the area, all the way up towards a moderate or major heat risk and heat danger expected, especially for for more of our inland portions and inland counties here in the coastal bend. So what this means is that, again, that dry air that's currently in place is going to add towards why things are going to feel like a sweltering summer for us across the area today and as we wrap up the end of our work week here. So we can see this dry air right now blanketing across the coastal bend, leading towards why, again, like I mentioned just at the top, why our air temperatures right now are a few degrees cooler this morning compared to yesterday, because yesterday we still had moisture in place, giving us some of those showers that we saw yesterday still lingering in the area. So across the coastal bend, seeing anywhere between 2 or up to 7 degrees cooler across the area this morning compared to yesterday. So you can do the math here very quickly. That means across the coastal bend we'll be seeing our temperatures kind of ranging anywhere between those lower 90s, or excuse me, lower 70s rather, up to those upper 70s for areas that are across the coast here. So looking at our hour-by-hour forecast, it's going to mean we'll be looking at most sunny skies all throughout the day, contributing towards those hotter conditions coming into the forecast. Like I mentioned, by 11 o'clock this morning, already approaching those lower 90s and eventually reaching those mid 90s by lunchtime. So if we're already talking about those conditions reaching in that range by around 11, 12 o'clock, that's going to mean that as we hit our peak afternoon hours between 2 and 4, things will be really hot for us across the area. So that's why I mentioned we'll be reaching those upper 90s, going to have a forecast high temperature of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Heat risk and heat danger is going to worsen for us across the coastal bend today. And as we look ahead towards tomorrow, going to see anywhere between that moderate to major risk of heat danger coming in. That's only going to worsen as we look ahead towards tomorrow and for our Friday here. So looking at the next few days ahead, tomorrow's going to be the hottest day of the week, expecting a high temperature of 100 degrees on the dot here in Corpus Christi. Going to see our temperatures begin to dial back a bit as we head towards our Friday, but still hot and dangerous with that heat risk still ranging between that moderate to major zone for us. So still don't turn a blind eye, even though air temperatures will be decreasing by a few degrees there. And then ahead for us on Saturday, we'll see another frontal boundary make its way here into the coastal bend. Also, we're going to see more rain on the way in association with that, and slightly cooler temperatures kind of dialing back closer towards those mid to lower 90s across the area. So things will start to become a little bit more bearable, and we'll see a return to below average temperatures as we approach your Sunday. So all across this weekend, expecting more of more favorable conditions in terms of our rain chances because of that frontal boundary pushing its way on through, and we'll see some tropical moisture come in from the eastern Pacific, making its way potentially here to South Texas. So that's going to help us even further with our rain chances beginning on Saturday, carrying on over towards our Sunday and our Monday as well. So looking pretty promising with our rain chances ahead for us towards this weekend, even into the early part of the midweek. Taking a quick look here at the tropics too. Speaking of tropical moisture, right now we do have this tropical wave still making its way westward from the eastern central Atlantic. Still expecting a bit of 70% chance of formation over the next 7 days. So things looking promising for that system to eventually develop into at least a tropical disturbance. And right now looking at our 7-day forecast, hot and humid now with scattered showers and cooler temperatures this weekend.
One night, one mission, countless lives changed. Coming up on Sunrise, I'll show you how you could help a local nonprofit that's honoring, assisting, and standing beside veterans who call the Coastal Bend home.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
We're talking about Coastal Bend Heroes and their Stars, Stripes, and Support fundraiser. To give us more information, we have one of the nonprofit's founders, Christy Jackson. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me out.
So what can people expect when they attend the Stars, Stripes, and Support event in October?
So I think it's going to be an excellent night of fun and good times, great music and great food out at Mansion Royale this year. We have a great band, The Groove, playing. We'll have a silent auction. I might sneak a few items into live auction this year as a surprise. The Veterans Band will be open up for us, as well as Selena Ramirez. It will be performing the national anthem, so we're proud to have her back again. All in support of Coastal Bend Heroes.
What are these funds going to?
We do help the Nueces County Veterans Pantry to stay full. We've also been able to add to that HEB gift cards. We've also been able to do things during extreme weather, like provide air conditioners for families that need them, heaters, coats, hot water heaters. We had a homeless veteran whose child was graduating from Flower Bluff High School, and we were able to provide the cap and gown for the graduate. So it isn't always cut in stone what people need or what we can do to meet that gap, but we do pride ourselves in connecting them with a resource beyond helping meet that gap. We also want to make sure that they don't have the same problem again next month, and so we are connecting them with the right resource to help them meet those long-term goals.
Well, thank you so much, Christy, for spending time with us and giving us all this information and for everything you do for our community. And again, folks, the Stars, Stripes Support fundraiser is on October 9th. If you would like sponsorship or ticket information, you could visit our website, christv.com.
All right, folks, so Sherrill Veterans Memorial Park now has a brand new look. Yeah, if you remember right, our very own Michelle Hoffman first told you about this. A Vietnam-era Army helicopter was installed at the park yesterday. The helicopter is part of a Military Monuments project that began over 3 years ago. A similar helicopter used to be on display years ago next to the old Memorial Coliseum. County Commissioner Mike Pusley was on the City Council when the project was launched over 3 years ago.
Like I said, it's been a long road, about 3.5 years to do this project, and to see it finally come to fruition and see the helicopter set in place it's a great feeling.
So Bell Helicopter donated this helicopter and paid for the refurbishment as well. The city paid for the 15-foot pedestal that it sits on, and that was funded through a city bond project.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Heading out the door, you're going to feel that conditions will be pretty dry, not quite as humid as they were yesterday, as drier air is now settling its way here across the coastal bend. So it's going to lead towards things feeling comfortable for the start of this morning, but it's not going to stay that way as we head towards the afternoon, as things are going to quickly heat up. Again, still tied towards that dry air. So we'll see our temperatures reaching back up towards those lower 90s by 11 o'clock this morning under mostly sunny skies. By this afternoon, around 1 between 4 o'clock, we will see our afternoon high temperature of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Winds will be coming in still in a bit of a mixture of a northwest to northeast direction, pretty light and variable. Maybe at the fastest we'll see our wind speeds clocking nearby 10 miles an hour, so not even much of relief coming in forms of those winds, of course, coming into the area. But looking at our heat risk and heat danger, that's what's going to be on the up for us today, as well as we'll be expecting our feel-like temperatures reaching nearby 105 degrees across most of our neighborhoods. Heat risk is going to range anywhere between that moderate to major risk across our area today, worsen ahead for us tomorrow and on Thursday, and pretty much stay in that same range ahead for us tomorrow and our Friday as well. So looking at our 7-day forecast here, next few days as we wrap up our work week, a lot of heat and humidity and higher temperatures in those upper 90s before a cool down and more rain in the forecast this weekend.
From Chris 6, this is 20 minutes of non-stop news.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of nonstop news with the Hoffmans. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. We have plenty of neighborhood news for you this morning, but first let's check in with meteorologist Julia Quady this morning. Hey, Julia, how are the roadways looking?
Hey there, good morning, you guys. The roadways are looking pretty good across the area here. We're all going to be waking up towards conditions feeling very comfortable as well. The coolest point of our day, as that drier air is giving us a cool start to our morning, but it's going to contribute towards very hot conditions by this afternoon. Taking a look at our view, though, from our SPID Skycam, because you can see those roadways have gotten very busy over the past few minutes. A lot of folks hitting those roads, getting their Wednesday morning started here. Now, thankfully, traffic flow, even though it's a bit more busy, is still flowing pretty well, heading in both directions on SPID, as we can see as we take a look at our traffic flow maps here behind me. Heading on Ocean Drive, looking at pretty easy drive conditions as well, heading on Saratoga 2. Moving on over towards Flower Bluff, a little bit of a medium speed, heading in both directions on Waldron Road, and as you can see here a bit on Flower Bluff Drive as well. And then heading on to the JFK Causeway, going to and from the island, also looking at pretty easy drive conditions heading out the door. I'll tell you more about your forecast coming up in the next few minutes.
Julia, thank you for that. We're going to check back in with you in just a little bit, like you said.
Yeah, but first, here's your neighborhood check-in.
City leaders are looking at a property tax rate increase.
City Council approved the first reading to set the tax rate at about 59 cents per $100 valuation, a small increase over the no new revenue rate, which is the rate needed to collect the same amount as last year. City Manager Peter Zanoni says the tax rate itself isn't increasing, but homeowners and business owners could still pay more due to rising property values. He adds the city has cut more than $13 million over the past 2 years to keep spending under control while maintaining core services like police, fire, parks, and street maintenance. Some community members say large corporations receive exemptions that residents do not, questioning whether the tax burden is fair. City Council will meet again next week to finalize the proposed tax rate.
I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Victoria Valderrama in Ingleside. Some neighbors received a notice in the mail notifying them of a public hearing with the Planning and Zoning Commission. They wanted to discuss property to be used for crude oil tanks. The area of concern is located off Texas 361 near Ingleside High School and homes on San Angelo Avenue. A little over a year ago, the Port of Texas LP submitted a rezoning application with the intent of building a tank farm for bulk storage, blending, and movement of crude oil and other unrefined hydrocarbon products. Kenneth Berry, the owner of the property, was not at Tuesday's meeting, but I did speak to him on the phone. He says the property in question has been partially zoned as industrial. This has several neighbors concerned if the application is approved.
Not only could it cause damage or hurt somebody, I mean, it's going to lower the property values extremely. If you have a refinery or a tank farm right there, property value is already low enough in this area, and it don't need to be any lower.
The Planning and Zoning Commission Board recommends City Council to deny the Port of Texas LP special permit request. The special permit request will be discussed next at City Council on September 23rd. In Ingleside, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Victoria Valderrama, for Chris 6 News.
I'm Tony Jaramillo, your neighborhood news reporter in Flower Bluff. I first told you in May about Senate Bill 10. It's the law requiring the 10 Commandments to be displayed in every Texas public classroom. And some are wondering how that law is in effect with the preliminary injunction in place. Kimberly Inman reached out to me with concerns about the legality of the 10 Commandments going up in her child's classroom at Flower Bluff High School, a part of Senate Bill 10 that went into effect September 1st. She says this law is unconstitutional since she believes it violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. On August 20th, the Texas federal court issued a preliminary injunction after several Texas parents filed a lawsuit against the state and named 11 districts as defendants, none of which are in Corpus Christi, which means they don't have to take the posters down. In a statement, the ACLU says every school district has the obligation to follow the Constitution and therefore should, quote, take heed of it even if they are not the defendant in the case. I've put a list of the 11 school districts named in the lawsuit on our website. Click on christv.com to see the list. In Flower Bluff, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Tony Jaramillo, Chris 6 News.
16 minutes and 42 seconds. That's how long it took me to drive from City Hall in Aransas Pass to StatCare in Rockport. Why is that a problem? That StatCare in Rockport is the nearest urgent care for residents here, and it's a problem that Councilwoman Ruth Camarillo Smith came into office to address. At Tuesday's council meeting, the council voted in favor of incentives to help the city have its own facility on West Wheeler. But while the facility offers a promising start for the city's health care services, Aransas Pass residents like Carol Salinas says that more information is needed and the facility itself will need to do more as well.
This actually needs to be a life-saving center, a place that is open 24/7.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Heading out the door today, you're going to notice that conditions are going to be a tad bit drier and cooler for us this morning compared to yesterday because now dry air has taken over in absence of that moisture that was in place yesterday. Now that's going to cause a couple changes in our forecast going forward towards the end of our work week. But let's focus on today to get you out the door. We're going to see we'll have a return of those hot and spicy conditions here in the coastal bend as we're expecting our air temperatures reaching back up into those upper 90s, expecting a high temperature of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi under mostly sunny skies. Also, our feel like temperatures will be on the rise too by this afternoon. Heat index values reaching nearby 105 degrees as we approach the afternoon hours. And along with that, worsening heat danger is going to be in the forecast as we'll see our heat risk kind of range between that moderate to major risk across most areas here in the coastal bend, especially for areas that are a little bit more further inland. But right now, taking a look at our moisture tracker, it's going to be this drier air, like I mentioned, that's going to cause those changes that we will see in our forecast going forward towards the end of our work week here. First things first, though, we'll notice that difference heading out the door this morning as our air temperatures are a few degrees cooler across the coastal bend compared to yesterday morning, anywhere between 2 or up to 7 degrees cooler across our neighborhoods. So it's going to mean our range will be mostly towards those lower 70s, maybe up to the most those higher upper 70s for areas that are along the coast nearby Rockport and over in the Bluff and NAS Corpus Christi. But here, Corpus Christi proper, around 74 degrees waking up, getting our morning started. But like I mentioned, that same dry air is going to contribute towards those hotter temperatures that we will be experiencing by this afternoon. Again, expecting a high temperature of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi. we'll see that our heat danger and heat risk will really worsen for us ahead for today and tomorrow. On our Thursday, majority of the coastal bend under that moderate or major risk of heat danger. That's going to continue as we look ahead towards your Friday as well. So you want to make sure you're practicing that heat safety, drinking plenty of water, looking before you lock. You don't want to leave anyone or anything in the car in these type of conditions that we're going to experience certainly as we head towards this afternoon. As we look ahead towards the next few days, tomorrow going to be the hottest day of the week as we're expecting a high temperature of 100 degrees on the dot. Still going to be hot ahead for us on Friday, and we'll continue to see with the dangerous heat risk, as I showed you just a moment ago, still ranging anywhere between that moderate to major risk. But we will have some changes on the way on Saturday and throughout this weekend with another frontal boundary that's going to push its way into the coastal bend. So with that, we'll see a bit of a decrease and a fallback with our temperatures and a return towards our rain chances with more scattered showers and thunderstorms this weekend.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
All right, folks, this one was a big one. It was a very late night at City Council. Tensions were high with multiple arrests made during the first round of public comment on the evening. Though after some lengthy discussions, the City Council did vote to end the contract with Kiewit, ending that Inner Harbor desal project and stopping the funding for that Inner Harbor desal project entirely. So the vote was made at 1 a.m. Following that vote, the council then voted on a resolution to ask the Texas Water Development Board if they could use $210 million in Inner Harbor funds for other water-related projects.
City Council also approved multi-year rate increases at Sunrise Beach RV Park to cover future upgrades for the park. Corpus Christi Water bought the park in 2008 to protect the Wesley Seal Dam, and City Council approved a 54% increase to all park fees in 2026, followed by an additional 1% in 2027 and 2028. Prices will then go up by 11% in 2029 and 10% in 2030.
Well, President Donald Trump is pushing forward with his plan to provide federal forces in Chicago. This decision comes despite the opposition of the city, county, and state leaders. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says that the land of Lincoln will go to court to fight against the deployment. The Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says that there's no need to bring in troops. At least 58 people were shot in Chicago this Labor Day weekend. That's according to the city's police department.
President Donald Trump also announced U.S. Space Command will move its headquarters to Huntsville, Alabama. The headquarters location has been the source of back and forth in recent years. Officials decided to move it from Colorado Springs, Colorado, to Alabama during Trump's first administration. However, a report from the Government Accountability Office in 2022 found the U.S. Air Force's decision-making process had significant shortfalls in its transparency and credibility.
Well, new data is set to be released by the federal government today on the number of job openings and employee turnover for July. So in June, job openings and hirings decreased, indicating a further slowdown in labor market activity. Job openings dipped by 275,000 to 7.43 million, which is more than economists expected. The new data comes just a month after President Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics after a report was unfavorable to him. It showed that hiring slowed significantly over the last several months.
McDonald's is cutting prices on some of its most popular meals. Starting September 8th, the chain will offer 2 limited-time deals nationwide, a $5 sausage McMuffin with egg meal and an $8 Big Mac meal. The move comes after McDonald's reported a sharp drop in low-income customers, and McDonald's CEO said re-engaging that group is critical since they visit more frequently than higher-income diners. Additional discounted meals are expected in November.
2 locals are getting ready to represent the Coastal Bend at the biggest marathon of the world. I'm Michaela Chavez, your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter on the north side. I'll tell you about the exciting journey that's taking these 2 athletes all the way to New York City.
Charlie is a big Green Bay Packers fan.
Meet that Packers fan Charlie and his family who spent a lot of time on the run.
the Houston Marathon, Rock and Roll San Antonio, Texas Independence Relay, which is 200 miles across Texas.
They're part of Wings of Texas, a local nonprofit promoting inclusion. For 2 years, Charlie and Rusty applied to be a duo team at the world's biggest marathon.
A duo team, so it'll be an individual pushing an individual with disabilities.
After years of trying, they finally got the email this year.
Rusty actually had to read the email like 3 or 4 times, waiting for it to say, please apply again next year.
Charlie and Rusty were selected, one of only 11 teams representing the U.S.
What was that feeling you got when you saw that email?
Panic. Serious panic, because it only gave me about 14 weeks to do an 18-week training.
Now they're buckling down. Rusty runs 25 to 30 miles a week, his longest 15 miles this past Sunday. The New Harbor Bridge is now their training ground for New York's 4 bridges.
The starting line is actually the Brooklyn Bridge.
The 26.2-mile course is tough.
For me, 13 miles is all muscle. After that, it's a mental game.
But to help them get there, they need the community. Wings of Texas is hosting a cookie and lemonade sale this Saturday at the Bill Dodge Run at Cole Park. A barbecue fundraiser follows on October 4th. Each plate comes with a ticket to their send-off concert October 21st at Brewster Street.
Chillbillies will be out there doing a live concert, and we're just going to send them off in style, help raise some funds for them to make this dream happen. You know, Rusty says all the time that he doesn't like to run, but he does it for Charlie. And he gets out there and he trains hard, and it just means so much to me that he's willing to do that for his son.
I have run other marathons with other kids in our organization, and either way it's amazing, but for it to be your son is just, no words can describe it.
Charlie and Rusty will hit the course in New York City on November 2nd. Until then, their fundraising continues, with every cookie, every lemonade stand, and every concert, bringing them one step closer to the finish line. In the North Side, I'm your Sunrise neighborhood news reporter, Michaela Chavez, Chris Sunrise.
All right, folks, on to what's trending, and it's a local story. So a $64 million construction project over the Port Aransas ferry crossing had to be put on pause recently because of an unexpected visitor. The visitor was a West Indian manatee, as you can see right there on your screen. Gorgeous. It was spotted swimming in the water near the construction site. Manatees are endangered and federally protected, so TxDOT halted work just to make sure nothing happened to it. It hung out for several hours before finally swimming away. The manatee was last spotted headed towards Corpus Christi Bay, so keep an eye out. But hey, remember to keep your distance.
So cute. I wish we can do like snorkeling or something, or scuba diving sometime.
Yeah.
We actually haven't done that in here in this area.
Yeah, I don't know if the visibility is going to be, would be enough, right, for scuba diving and snorkeling.
Like if the water's cleared here? I don't know. Not quite
We got to
sure.
ask our experts at home.
Yeah,
Let us know.
definitely.
And if you could recommend a spot, that would be awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's so cool seeing such wildlife out there. We talked about it a little bit before, but
And you head to Rockport, apparently.
You do.
Go sight some, do some dolphin sightings over there.
Their beach is so pretty over there,
It really
too.
is, yeah.
They have the cute little huts and stuff.
Yeah. I got to make the trip. I'll try to plan for it in the next coming weeks, hopefully.
For those that might want to make a trip out there today, how's the weather going to be?
The weather's going to be great. You just want to make sure you don't spend too much time outdoors, and you just kind of spice it up in the terms of just spending some time outdoors and indoors, just because things are going to get really hot for us across the coastal bend as we approach this afternoon. Right now, taking a look at our Snoopy Spear Sky Cam, sponsored by CCAC, can make out some of that passing cloud cover in our skies right now. Conditions across the coastal bend are pretty cool and comfortable at the moment because of that drier air that's currently in place. But like I mentioned, things are going to get really spicy for us as we head towards this afternoon. So what does that mean for your dog walking forecast? Well, first, let's go ahead and introduce our star, literal star for today. We got Star here just kind of lounging on the beach, and like Brian mentioned, nice beach conditions here in the coastal bend, but you just want to make sure you're erring on the side of caution. Make sure you're lathering up on that SPF, and again, drink plenty of water and spend some time in some air conditioning to allow your body to cool off, because things will heat up very quickly as we approach around midday and as we look ahead towards this afternoon. We'll be seeing our air temperatures already reaching towards those lower 90s and eventually those mid 90s by lunchtime. So that's going to let you know that things are going to quickly heat up across the region here as we head towards the afternoon. Expecting an afternoon high temperature of 99 degrees here in Corpus Christi under mostly sunny skies. So again, we're in for a very hot day for us in the coastal bend because of that dry air air that's blanketing across South Texas. That's going to lead towards why we'll start off this morning, like I mentioned, around 7 degrees cooler across most of our neighborhoods. But then as we reach this afternoon, that same dry air contribute towards those warmer temperatures and higher feel-like temperatures as we approach the afternoon as well, again reaching anywhere up to 105 degrees. So that's going to be the main cause for why our heat risk and heat danger will be worsening for us today as well. Anywhere between that moderate to major risk expected, especially for inland portions of the coastal bend today. And it's only going to worsen even further ahead for us tomorrow on our Thursday. Maybe a little bit improvement ahead for us on Friday, but again, still majority of our neighborhoods and counties across the coastal bend under that moderate to major risk for heat danger. So the heat's going to stick around, with tomorrow potentially being our hottest day in the forecast, reaching 100 degrees on the dot here in Corpus Christi. But then by the weekend, we're talking about another frontal boundary reaching us here in the coastal bend and tropical moisture coming in from the east. And that's going to give us our rain chances. Hopefully right now it's looking pretty promising this weekend.
Looks like a cold front.
Yeah, but it's not going to push all the way through. Don't get people too excited.
I know. If you say that, they're going to
really
get triggered.
sensitive.
Thanks for tuning in,
Julia.
folks. We'll see you soon.